Joy Drive. Smart, fun radio.
Theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive with Em and Warren.
Suzy, welcome back to Joy Drive.
Don't you think that video is fascinating?
Which video?
The one you sent through.
Oh my gosh, it is so fascinating. I needed to stop the press and, broadcast it.
What's happening in the video, Suzy? Do you want to just tell everyone?
Well, it appears that Harry Styles and Chris Pine were at the premiere of the film, and it looks like Harry Styles kind of surreptitiously spat into Chris Pine's face. So you could see a little bit of lip movement there. But the bigger image to look at is Chris Pine's reaction. Because he really does look like someone spat in his face, even though we are trying to focus on Harry Styles' lips.
Do you see anything fly across?
No, you don't.
Really, yeah. There's no real substance to it.
Making it lips.
But even the motion of, gesturing to spit towards someone.
Yeah,
that's enough,
but why Chris Pine sort of had a big change of expression, and he was clapping at something and then he suddenly stopped clapping when that happened as well.
And was a bit like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a bit
we love a bit of harmless gossip. These very rich white men can protect themselves. We don't have to worry about laughing at them.
Well, speaking of drama, what did we watch this week, Suzy?
It is the early 80s, and a young woman is on the brink of superstardom. She's the greatest singer of her generation, but she is also African-American, and she's in a same-sex relationship, which we find out to be considered impediments to commercial success. The Netflix film we're talking about today is Beauty. The character I'm talking about is also named Beauty. But for fans of popular music, it is evident that the story is about the late, great, one and only Whitney Houston, before she became one of the biggest stars to ever exist. We see her, Beauty/Whitney, embarking on a hugely promising and lucrative music career with one of the world's biggest record companies. The problem, however, is that the bigwigs want to change everything about her. Most troubling of all are their intentions to hide the fact that she is in love with a woman, as well as the determination to make a song sound less black. We see how capitalism denies the artist of everything that is authentic about her. It comes as no surprise to anyone that pop music especially is almost entirely fabricated, but to see Beauty and the person, the artist, getting diminished in such a cruel manner should really make us stop and think about how each of us stands in relation to money and glory. What are the compromises that we submit ourselves to, and whether they are really worth it? Are the promises of wealth and success really all they are cracked up to be? The film is a gentle one. It's not overly emotional, never manipulative. There is something arty and sensual about it that I found a little slow to start, but it's got a lot of captivating experimental elements, and it offers an unusual way to experience a biopic, one which I found ultimately to be quite accomplished. Em and Warren is an unusual one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is kind of unusual. I mean, you know what? I watched it, and I wasn't sure if it was because when we spoke last week, we said, is it Whitney or not? And I had that in my mind. And I loved, there were old songs of Aretha Franklin on there and Donna Summer, etc. But I didn't hear any Whitney.
Yeah, I think that the glaring absence kind of tells you that's their intention, I feel.
Suzy, you didn't make the film, so this is not by any means against you, but I super did not like it.
Yeah, why?
I really, really disliked it.
You got the spit reaction.
I really, really disliked it. I could not like any character. I disliked pretty much every single person in the film, including Beauty. So I had no one to hold on to as someone that I, could just ride through the film with. I thought that the choice to have her never sing, the main character ever sing, it's all about this person that's supposed to be this amazing singer that's out of this world, good at what they do, and you never hear them sing. And I know that was a choice, and I just think it was a terrible choice.
But you know what else about it? That you don't hear them sing, but they also, at times, they make it silent. So you just see her mouth moving.
It's a choice, and I didn't like the choice.
So there's
Big
nothing.
Choice.
It's silent. I found that annoying too.
Well, clearly they weren't able to get any rights of, the Whitney songs.
Yes.
And I think there is probably a lot of sort of trepidation about how the Whitney estate and the family is going to react if they had actually named the character Whitney. I think that's a lot about that. But then also I did sort of come to the realization that it's making a biopic without making
Permission.
you feel, without the conventions and without requiring you to feel sort of sympathy and without wanting to be very sort of emotional about it. I mean, I don't know why, because you think that that's why you do a biopic, but, the unusualness of it was interesting to me. And I found myself actually quite interested in how are you going to tell a story about someone that's touched everyone's, lives and emotions, and tell it in such a sort of like slightly detached, cold way. And I got to the end of it and I found it quite satisfying.
I must admit, I mean, I love Whitney Houston. I really do. And I found myself sort of overlaying my feelings of Whitney with the movie. And it sort of I guess it pricked my curiosity, and I didn't focus so much on the shortcomings. And I was like, what was it like for Whitney Houston? But, if you think about it, there was no real depth to the Beauty character, was there? Like, you didn't, like, she just sort of made little funny statements here and there, really superficial statements. And I thought, well, you've got this father that's driven by money and success, and the mother who's, I interpreted that she was jealous because she never had the career, or she mentioned she never had the spotlight as well. So she's got those two parents putting that pressure on her. And I would have loved to have sort of explored what was that doing to her and her journey in life, and what pressure was that having on her ability to sign this contract. And I felt like that was really just glossed over.
Well, I love that response. I think, these days we talk a lot about the sort of, when you're talking about women characters, how much they are in charge of their own stories. And I think in this story, you kind of see that she doesn't have much autonomy, but also she's sort of 19 years old. And I think the film is a lot more concerned about the world around her and the system that sort of sucks people into itself and then turns them into something else. I think because that's what the film is trying to do and trying to show, you kind of lose the possibility of what the character is actually thinking, and sort of you lose the essence of the character a little bit. I think that's part of why the film kind of feels really distanced.
Yeah, it really does. That's the thing. I think even like in terms of the script, like they say things, but it feels like they just never say enough. And that's the whole feeling I had for the whole film. I was just like, give me more everything. I want more plot. I want more script. I want more music. I want more everything.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I felt the same thing, but I think I responded to it in quite favorable way, in that I felt that longing, quite an unusual feeling to watch a film.
Right.
Because I felt like I was still interested the whole time. Usually they don't give you enough and you kind of go, I'll just turn it off. I'll go do something else.
Yeah.
But I found myself just kind of waiting and looking at the little bits that they did offer. And I got to the end and thinking that they didn't give us a lot. But somehow, maybe because I already saw, I've seen a lot of like 2 or 3 documentaries about her. So it's not as if I don't know the details. It's just, I must say I was quite satisfied.
And if we talk about the real Whitney, her longtime friend, was it Robin Crawford? And I think Robin did admit that Whitney did end their relationship, didn't she? To avoid, being outed or to avoid all that scrutiny from the media or not appealing to the right audience.
Yeah, I think the truth is that Whitney did end that relationship, but, it's only speculation as to how and why she made those decisions. In the film, according to the film, it is about the record company kind of almost blackmailing her, kind of saying that, your first album is coming out. If you don't hide this, I don't think they say to end it, but they say if you don't hide this, then you're going to be a failure. And, for viewers, it'd be interesting to know that character, that record company bigwig character, is played by Sharon Stone, who is fabulous in her older age, and she's really good in this. Like, she plays that, the problem is not me, it's the system, but she's the one that implements all these horrible things.
I wonder if things would be different now, like what it would be like. Let's say that, Whitney was coming of age now and starting to produce music, how much things have changed since back then in that
we look at people like Lil Nas X, and I think the evidence is that social media has changed so much, and not just social media, but just internet technology, that musicians can reach out to their listeners in such a direct way. They almost create their careers before the record companies come on board. Record companies are just waiting for people to become successes before they would invest in them, which is very different from, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like she would be huge on TikTok.
Yeah. Of course she would.
Yeah, she absolutely would.
Do you know,
Yeah, definitely.
Whitney Houston's Greatest Hits was my first CD
Cool.
that I had.
This is why you
Oh,
liked
there
the
you
film,
go.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I really did. But Suzy, you know what? It's always fun. Either way,
We are talking
Yeah.
about Beauty, which is streaming on Netflix at the moment.
Suzy, what are
Yeah.
we watching next week?
Next week, because M loves mathematics so much.
Oh, no.
Next week, we're looking at something called Trigonometry, streaming on Stan. It is a drama series about a love triangle that maybe goes too far.
Trigonometry.
on Stan.
I'm already getting some sort of, I don't know, PTSD or something to general mathematics.
Thanks,
We'll talk
Suzy.
about it. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
That's Suzy Wrong, theatre, film and TV reviewer.